You fell silent as the door creaked open, your heart pounding at the sound of the boots approaching. The noise grew louder and your body tensed in fear. You know why you're here, you signed up, but you can still reconsider. Once you agree, no one will stop me from using you. I'll take you hard with no mercy. There's no turning back. Took a deep breath, mentally preparing yourself for what was about to happen. Your heart pounded and your throat felt tight with a mixture of fear and resolve. You whispered to yourself, just one night. With a trembling note, you relinquished control, allowing him to approach. The moment you gave in, your hands were quickly bound with the fabric of your dress was ripped, leaving you exposed and vulnerable. The cool air against your bare skin heightened your sense of discomfort and fear. As he drew nearer, the sound of his steps grew more pronounced, each one a reminder of the gravity of your situation. You braced yourself for the intensity of your resolve sharpening with every passing second. The fear and discomfort were palpable, but you were determined to endure whatever came next, unwavering in your mission. If you want to read more of this scene, go to my Instagram page Jungkook I can't mention here. The encounter stretched for 2 resentless hours, intensity unwavering just as the night seemed endless. A knock on the door shattered the atmosphere. Also, this is part 2. If you haven't watched the part 1 yet, link in description box. Police has arrived, sir. The guard announcement jolted Jungkook from his focus. His eyes widened with surprise and he hastily pulled away from you, his movements abrupt as he stood up. With a mix of urgency and frustration, he entered your hands. After I leave, you'll get rest and leave. Keep the blindfold on until then. His voice was sharp, the command laced with a sense of finality. He began to dress quickly, his hands moving with a hurried efficiency. Despite the gravity of the situation, you couldn't help but let a chuckle escape your lips. What's so funny? He looked at you, confusion acted across his face as he tried to make sense of your reaction. His tone was a mixture of irritation and curiosity. Goodbye, Mafia. You'll now spend your whole life in jail. You spoke with the cold satisfaction, the words laced with a sense of triumph. The reality of his impending capture and punishment seemed almost poetic given the night's events. Jungkook stammered, his response faltering as he tried to process your declaration. What? Before he could finish his sentence, a guard voice cut through again, urgently calling him away. Jungkook faced shot a mix of frustration and resignation as he was forced to leave. After he was gone, you removed the blindfold with a sense of relief as you looked at your body. A smile formed on your lips. There was no regret in your eyes, only a profound sense of accomplishment and a quiet satisfaction in knowing the role you had played. The next day, you were confronted with the harsh revelation. The man you had thought is the mafia leader is actually his son, who had recently joined the world. He should not be punished. Taehyung, he's just a young boy, he didn't anyone. Your voice was trembling, filled with confusion and a touch of desperation. The idea that the person you had just encountered might be unjustly punished was distressing, especially after what had happened. Taehyung's expression solemn as he looked at you, his voice steady and unwavering. He did your father, the real mafia leader, is. But our investigation revealed that your father was deeply involved in the world himself. He was responsible for the of the mafias. Jungkook, your father, in retaliation of the murder of his own father. This case is much more complex than you might have realized. We're only beginning. Your eyes widened in shock, your disbelief clear in the way your mouth slightly fell upon. What? My father was a mafia? The revelation was almost too much to progress. The man you had always known, your father was entangled. Yes, your father was part of the mafia. We have uncovered that this cycle of continue because of individuals like your father and his adversaries. If we don't intervene, the cycle of revenge and violence will just go on. As the harsh truth settled in, tears began to flow down your cheeks. The weight of the situation was overwhelming, and Taehyung reached out, taking your hand gently to comfort you. I understand this is difficult to hear, but you need to see that if we let him go, he'll only perpetuate the cycle. His survival in that world depends on continuing his family's criminal activities. To truly break this cycle, we need to act decisively. I'm about to be of the police department. Once I have that authority, I'll ensure that everyone involved in these criminal activities faces justice. Your voice was filled with a mix of sadness and concern, but he is so young, Taehyung. He has his whole life ahead of him. Yes, and if he remains free, he'll be forced to continue this life to protect himself and his family. The safest place for him in a long run might be behind the bars. It is difficult reality, but it's often the only way to protect both him and society. Once I'm in the charge, I'll do everything I can to ensure that all those involved face the consequences of their. What's about his family? He has only a grandmother left. We'll ensure she's provided with security to keep her safe from any repercussions. It's important to protect her as well. So there's nothing we can do for him. For now, nothing can be done until I capture all the members of Mafia network. They'll face severe penalties, but I'll do my best to mitigate Jungkook's sentence if possible. It's about finding a balance between justice and compassion. Okay, thanks, Saya. With a heavy heart, you accepted the grim reality. The complexity of the justice and the cycle of retributions were now clear, though no less painful. A week later, you learned that you are pregnant. You were conflicted about whether to proceed with an abortion and had planned to go to the hospital. However, you received a call from Kim Taehyung, who informed you that his grandmother wished to meet you. Okay, I'll meet her before heading to the hospital. You decided to visit her before your appointment. When you arrived at her home, the atmosphere was warm and inviting. His grandmother greeted you with a gentle smile that conveyed both warmth and gratitude. You offered a respectful bow as you entered and took a seat in front of her, feeling the gravity of the situation. Ryan, she spoke your name softly, her voice filled with sincerity. She settled into a comfortable armchair and gestured for you to sit down across from her. You wanted to meet me. You looked at her, trying to catch the purpose of this unexpected meeting. His grandmother, yes, I wanted to thank you for freeing my Jungkook from this dark and the dirty world. Her voice held a mixture of sadness and relief. She looked at you with eyes that had witnessed much suffering but still had a glimmer of hope. I am sorry, my father, your son. You lowered your gaze, feeling the weight of the apology. Her reaction was calm but filled with a deep sense of resignation. It's okay, my son would have done the same to your father if he hadn't been killed first. She spoke with a profound acceptance of the situation, acknowledging the harsh realities of their world. I am still sorry. Your voice was tinged with regret, the complexity of the situation weighing heavily on you. I am sorry for whatever happened to you that night. She leaned forward slightly, her expression conveying genuine empathy and sorrow for your experience. No, I gave him my consent. You tried to reassure her, your voice steady despite the emotional turmoil you felt. Jungkook was involved with. He never wanted to marry. He wanted to end his life with his death, hoping the children wouldn't have to endure the same. I am relieved he's free now. Her words were spoken with a mixture of sadness and peace, reflecting on Jungkook's choices and his desire to escape a life he never wanted. He has been sentenced to 30 years. Do you know that? You shared the harsh reality with her, your voice reflecting your concern and sadness. Yes, my Jungkook will be 55 then. By then, I would be gone. My only worry is that when he comes out, no one will be there for him. Her voice broke slightly, revealing her deep concern for Jungkook's future and the loneliness she feared he would face. You felt a surge of empathy and compassion. Without thinking, you placed her hand gently on your belly. There is someone who will be there. What? Are you pregnant with Jungkook's child? Her eyes widened in surprise and hope. She processed the news. I was going to abort, but now I have decided not to. Jungkook did nothing wrong. He was only trying to protect you. Thank you so much, Ryan. Her voice was filled with gratitude and relief, and her eyes shone with tears. Next time you see him, please tell him that someone will be waiting at the door to take him home when he gets out. Your words were meant to offer a glimmer of hope for Jungkook's future, a promise of support despite the harsh circumstances. Listening to this, his grandmother's eyes filled with tears without hesitation. She reached out and embraced you tightly. You returned the hug, feeling a profound connection and understanding between you. I don't know why I'm doing this, but Jungkook, you're not alone. In that moment, despite the complexity and the pain of the situation, you felt a sense of resolve and compassion. You were choosing to offer a small ray of hope and solidarity, bridging the gap between two troubled lives. Time skipped to 5 years. Emma was crying as her great grandmother had just passed away. I will miss grandma so much, Mama. Her voice was thick with sorrow, her little face wet with tears, her words gently wiping her tears away. You took a deep breath to steady yourself. Grandma had to go, Emma. We need to be strong and remember her with a smile. You're going to meet your Appa today, remember? Aren't you excited to see him? You begin, Emma, preparing for the crematorium, clipping her hair back with the black clippers and slipping on her black shoes, each moment reflecting the wavy emotions you were carrying. When you see him, make sure to tell him your name and call him Oppa, okay? You spoke softly, trying to instill a sense of importance and reverence in Emma as you prepared her for this significant moment. She nodded, still sniffing, as you pulled her into a warm hug. After the hug, you had pulled away as Taehyung arrived to pick you up. Be good, Emma. I'll see you at the crematorium. You stood up, straightening your posture as Taehyung approached with a cheerful trunk, trying to lift Emma's spirits. Are you ready to meet Daddy? He smiled warmly, hoping to bring some joy of the moment. Are you sure you're not coming with us? Shaking your head, voice felt regret. I don't want to intrude and disrupt their moment together. It's important for them to have this time alone. He doesn't hold anything against you, with a hint of sadness. No, it's not that. Please understand, I would rather stay out of it. Okay, if that's what you want, I need to get going now. Goodbye. Offering a sad smile, goodbye, and congratulations on your marriage. Susie is truly beautiful. Thank you. Goodbye now. As Taehyung left, you sat on the couch, your heart heavy. You had been single, not out of choice but circumstances. Despite dating few men, nothing seemed to work out. Your focus remained on your daughter, and today was no exception. To be continued.